Okay, and we're back. And I
Hey,
I sound beautiful. I'm back. Sound great.
let's
Anyway,
hope
I wanted
last.
to throw my 2 cents in there because I think in light of the fact going on to our next topic, we're going to be talking about the merger, what of Fox and Disney.
Whoop whoop.
And I was sitting there thinking, like, you're having all these major combinations, big groups, huge corporations. I would think that the word on the street is that you probably shouldn't be tweeting anything unless it's all sunshine and roses.
Well,
And you
or
know,
that you realize that you're putting something on a platform in which millions of people are going to read it. So you might want to think about that before you decide to hit the send button.
is there any way to get ahead of this? In terms of, let's just say I'm going to be considered for the new Captain Marvel movie, and I put out some tweets, and is there some feedback coming from someone?
It
Is that
sounds like NASA is getting ready to launch a shuttle somewhere.
Yeah, Carlos was giving some feedback.
okay? And I'm going to do something I normally
Back.
don't do. I'm muting his mic.
Wait, wait. Well, when he comes back on, make sure you unmute it so we can hear him.
Okay, but
No, but
I guess my point is, if I want to if I want to try out for the Captain Marvel movie, is it best that I come clean and say, by the way, I tweeted some things like 7 years ago that were unsavory,
Yes.
or okay,
Yes, because if you lie and say you didn't do anything and they get the committee together and they scour through the Library of Congress records and they come back to you going, well, you just gave you $150 million and we see that you want to stick your dick in a potted plant over here in 2006. We're not having this.
okay.
So,
Let me ask one more question then. James Gunn. Now, let's just say James Gunn, this story wasn't out there. Right now in our environment here, we're going to be doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Would they hire James Gunn right now, knowing those tweets were from 10 years ago? And let's just say, I apologize. I was just trying to be like jokes. They were over the top. I don't mean it. Would they hire him now, or does he become not hireable now? I think it's sort of
I
like,
think if they knew and people knew that they knew that he had tweeted these things and they hired him anyway, I think he's unhireable. I think if they try to scrub it and try to, get rid of all of the records, I don't know if that's even possible, but they might attempt to do something. Then I think that's probably, if you can get away with it, people have done it, and will continue probably to do it or try to anyway. Then yeah, but if there's really no way to get away with it, then if your hand's going to get stuck in the cookie jar, then you're going to get busted. It's how much do you want to risk the whole company on this guy? Now at this point, now that he's directed two, I think it's $2 billion worth of movies for them. I think it's a tough call.
okay. Well, let's get back into the happiness of you with the combination of Disney and Fox.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
read an article because obviously I have to keep rebooting my computer to make this shit work. At one point now,
Why don't you stick your finger in a socket and then see if it works when you press the buttons?
it seems to me I saw something that says that now with the combination of Fox, that Disney would probably have like maybe 50, maybe 60% of the share of what do
The
I want to
movie
say
industry.
here? Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
like
my
the
question
box
is
office, the box office.
box office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Exactly.
think like last year or maybe the year before and last year, I think like 8 out of the top 10 grossing movies of the year were Disney properties.
So is this going to be good or bad for Joe and Jane Sixpack? Or how do you feel about the whole thing?
Quite honestly, I could give a crap less about Joe and Jane Sixpack if they're not going to get on the Fox Disney train. Then get out of the way so the rest of us can have fun. Um,
Now,
but
part of the whole idea of this merger, they said this will help them also be able to compete more with Amazon and Netflix.
right,
Um,
well, because of the Disney app, because now they're going to have everything under one roof. Um, Especially for Marvel, I mean, and since that's my biggest, company, my go-to company, then obviously I'm thrilled that we're going to have the X-Men returning to the Marvel universe. Are you still there?
yeah.
We're going to have all those characters that they could no longer use because they were at Fox before. Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four. I mean, all of these big giant properties that are now going to be able to be incorporated into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is thrilling for me. It's like awesome. Now, I'm a fan of the Fox, all of the Fox superhero movies in general speaking, even the last Fantastic Four, which is the movie, by the way, that started our show. So throw back to that. But you know, the original Fantastic Four movies, I was a fan of, and of course, the X-Men universe is, you know, I'm a huge fan of. But honestly, Fantastic Four did not do well at the box office. They weren't going to do anything with the property at Fox anyway. So now that it's back with Disney proper, with Marvel proper, you know, I'll get to see sooner than later another iteration of that. So I am happy about it. And the X-Men universe, to be quite honest with you, it was a 9-film movie universe. It was it started the modern cinematic superhero universe. I love all of the movies that are in that world. But at 9 movies in, I think they could use a fresh start. So yeah, I'm ready for it. I am so ready for it.
Bill, what's the first sort of crossover movie you want to see? You want to see like the Avengers movie as X-Men, or what do you want to see?
I want the Fantastic Four to be incorporated most of all, and I want it to be brought into the Marvel universe, and I want to see it succeed the way only Marvel movies can or have. Because they've had 2 false starts. They did the one in 2007, then the Silver Surfer, and then they rebooted that whole universe in 2000. I guess it was 3 years ago, so 2015. That was a failure financially. And so I want to see them get their proper respect from cinema goers.
So you want that standalone franchise to be rebooted, as opposed to you want to see some multi-mutant movies happening where...
Right. Oh, I want the X-Men to go up eventually. I want the X-Men to go up against the Avengers. Fuck yeah. Or join the Avengers. Fuck yeah. But more than that, I want the Fantastic, because the X-Men have had some success. The X-Men have had a 9-film universe. Fantastic Four has never really gotten off the ground to the point where it's gotten a steady, a steady universe going of its own. And so, yeah, and get this. Think about this now. Phase 4 is the phase that they're entering into in Marvel after Infinity War Part 2, which comes out in May next year. Usually they announce their film slate, years in advance. So once Phase 4 starts, it's Marvel Phase 4 starts with the Fantastic Four. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
So do the villains team up too? So are we going to see Thanos with Magneto, or what's going to happen?
I mean, it's all a possibility, right? Like once they become incorporated, which is going to take about a year. So about a year from now, we'll start hearing about what they plan on doing. Once Infinity War 2 is out, they're going to start talking about what's next for them. And
what you have is an opportunity for a complete universe now.
Just about, yeah.
Just like in the comics. I have a concern. My concern is the fact that now all these properties are under the Mouse House. Am I just going to be getting some general audience flavor now? Well, I have instead of having different things and different companies, I at least have the opportunity to having maybe something darker or lighter. But now I just feel like it's only going to be one way now.
I have 2 words for you: Infinity War. Okay? If that movie didn't rock your socks, I don't believe you if you say that.
Missy, should I be concerned?
I think it's reasonable to be concerned. So, because what happens is, how many horses can they bet on? And if they're going to say, "Oh, we're really big with the Avengers," healthy competition is good, right? And if another company acquired like the X-Men franchise and they said, "We're going to go up against Disney," I think that's pretty healthy, and it might produce a better product. Where now Disney might be sitting back and saying, "Well, we can't do that plot line, or we can't do that CGI effect because we're using that in Infinity War 87 or whatever they're going to do." So I am a little bit worried about that, because they're going to want to like harmonize and make things consistent and not, put 2 movies up against each other. And so I'm not worried about. I mean, I think the products will still be good, but I do think, all under one house could lead to some dilution of you know.
No, I understand those concerns in general, but the things that allay those concerns for me are the fact that we're now entering into 22 films from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Kevin Feige has got a lock on this so tight that they've never had, well, since The Incredible Hulk, which is one of the first 2 films ever released, a misstep. I think the tone that you're saying that it's all going to be one tone. I mean, if you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've already seen examples that that's not true. I mean, Thor: The Dark World couldn't be further from Thor: Ragnarok. And, Ant-Man couldn't be further from Infinity War, but they all exist still under that same universe. So I do think that having them all under the one roof has the potential to sort of make it like that. But as long as Kevin Feige is there, and as long as they stick to that, each movie is its own sort of thing, that it's not a big concern that I have.
The question is, I'll direct this one to Carlos. They're going to be coming out with a Disney streaming service. Everybody's trying to cut the cord, but the more you try to cut the cord, the more you have to start adding all these services now. And Disney is going to have one. Are you going to be adding one to your pantheon of stuff, Mr. Carlos?
Well, is it just me, or technical difficulties arise again? Or is it just
You sound good now, Carlos.
You sound fine.
Oh no! I was hearing from Jay. Jay was sounding like a superhero to me.
No, he
but I
sounded
think the question
good to me.
Okay, good. I'm sorry then. So the question is the Disney streaming service. What do I think about it?
Will you
Are
be
you gonna buy
adding it?
Well, look, I think that the competition is great. So right now, I don't see that I'm going to need it. I wouldn't need it for the kids. I wouldn't want the new releases. I could see the market for it, but for me, my kids are probably just a little bit too old. And like on the edges for me, because I cut the cord, Hulu's right on the edge. Sometimes I want it. Sometimes I don't. Netflix, Amazon Prime, and I'm right now doing the DirecTV Now for the stations, which is, we'll see how that works out. But the point is that, yeah, probably not enough to add it, but I think the competition is good. And there's some things that I do have to add that are really good. Like, for example, I added the PBS app, and I'm using that on my Roku, and I'm watching all their new shows. So
Does that cost you extra?
No, it's free, but you could sign up. You can't sign up for their premium,
right,
which is like $55 a year or something, and then you get all the content. You get select content without paying for it.
Right.
So if that answers your question, I'm all for the app, but I won't be buying it.
Superfan Melissa, have you cut the cord?
No, I really want to cut the cord. It needs to happen. I have a husband who's clinging to it because
good
of
for him.
local sports and things. But we pay. I don't even know what we pay, and I don't even want to wager a guess because it's astonishingly high. And
we pay $220 right now, and that's with phone, cable.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
It's phone, cable, and internet though, and we have 3 DVRs. I mean, it's not cheap.
I'll tell you, we need to cut the cord. I don't know I don't know how much Disney's gonna cost per month, and I don't know what's gonna be included. So like we have Hulu now. Now Disney owns 60% of Hulu. So
right.
If I pay $20 to Disney a month, do I get Hulu as well as access to the Marvel movies and access to, the Fox movie universe? So I guess I'll be interested to see what it is. It's not just going to be the kids cartoon.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, but we're getting some feedback from Carlos, I think.
Okay.
Carlos was trying to add a video call to our thing.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think I might have fixed the problem.
So is it my turn? Because I want
5 seconds away from being ejected.
That is not nice. I want the DC app, which starts earlier. It's going to be about a year earlier than the Disney app itself. So I want all the freaking apps. I want App Me Up, baby.
But then why do you want cable then?
Melissa,
You're not watching local sports, okay? What do you want cable for?
I don't leave my house except to go to work and to the grocery store. Okay.
I've been listening for 3 years. I totally
Right. I keep forgetting that you are quite familiar with this. Okay, so because there are certain channels and certain shows that are not on platforms right now or on any apps. Tyler Perry shows, we're kind of into this one show that he does on OWN, and they don't have that like on any service. My husband is a Judge Judy fanatic, so he watches that like religiously, and that's even though she sold her library to, I believe it's Netflix, it hasn't started on the apps yet. So we've got to have that. So there's certain, and of course these are all on different tiers, so you can't have one without the other and get what you both need. So that's really the primary reason. Also, I like having it as like the primary recording device, and then I use Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix as like for other shows, and then also for backups for the like Hulu we use as a backup for the DVR. In case something goes wonky and we didn't get this week's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's always available on Hulu. But so for the DC app, I've got to have that because I want it. I'm not gonna lie. It's only $9 a month. Of course, it's $9 on top of the $9 I'm paying for Hulu, on top of the $5 I'm paying for PBS. But you know what? That's okay.
I mean, what's interesting about this model, I know we're getting straying off subject here, is I have Amazon Prime. I now have Hulu through Sprint. I have Netflix.
Well, you got to get your money's worth out of Sprint somehow because you're certainly not getting it on your cell phone service.
Low-hanging fruit, yes.
It's
okay.
not an advertisement for Sprint cell services.
I have Netflix, including the DVD queue. I mean, the DVDs subscription service that cost me about $40 a month. I also added some sort of horror app called Shudder, which charges me $5 a month. That gives me access to a horror library, which is very cool. Carlos has been happy to lend me his password, so my woman now can watch Judge Judy on DirecTV now. So we have access to that.
What? This is going on the internet. They're going to prosecute. There's dozens of people listening to this.
Dozens. He said dozens.
So at this point, every time they come out with this service, it seems as though they want to charge maybe $5 to $10 a month, and it seems more than reasonable, to be quite honest with you, to get access to something.
If you get 20 companies at $5 to $10 a month, there's
it starts to add up.
Right.
Yes, it's very interesting how all this time I've been cutting the cord, but I'm slowly just adding things because things are being split off into different arenas. So in one vein, I hope they do all combine in a certain way. Hopefully they won't raise the price.
I just don't think that. I do not foresee that happening because there's too much money to be made by having different, and also they're very sort of myopic. They want their content protected, so they put it on a service that they control and that they can dictate whatever goes on or off of that platform. So I just don't. I agree with you. It'd be wonderful if we had some kind of synergy between these all these different companies and we could put it all on one service, but I think you would end up right back where you are now with cable. It would end up being that.
Bill, yeah, I have something to say on this. You're absolutely right. What we're dealing with now is that it's like, okay, we used to have to pay for data. Now everybody except for Jay has unlimited data on their phone normally.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
So now they have to, but now because data is less of an issue, now they're going to figure the next thing, and now everything's Wi-Fi. So you notice it's like Wi-Fi is expensive, and they're amping it up so you get the 300 megabytes. And the point is that the companies are always they always have to find a way to make money, and the more they merge, the more that I mean, like for example, I'm stuck with Spectrum Cable. I can go to some DSL bullshit or something that's not going to perform nearly as well, but there's not a competitor. There should be at least two companies so I can get the better cable company. And
Right.
that's what scares me about all these mergers.
Did you? I'm sure you saw the
agree.
headline.
I agree exactly with that. Go ahead.
I'm sure, Carlos, that you saw the headline that New York State actually kicked Spectrum out of the whole state.
Oh, they gotta go.
They
You gotta
kicked them
go
out.
to-
They said they can't offer service in the state of New York anymore
Yeah.
because their customer service is so bad that they said we just don't even want your business in our state.
I know, but and it is bad, and like I know when they're throttling it and when they're not. But the point is not to get off subject, but I can't believe that fewer movie making companies is going to be good for the movie making industry. It's the liberal viewpoint. I like the ideas that the universes are going to combine, but can't they have like agreements to do such a thing? Or are they just too protective?
Yeah, that's right.
I think in the environment that we're in right now, I think it's just not financially feasible for these smaller companies to survive, for smaller independent movie companies to thrive, because I mean what's happened is it's people are becoming less and less willing to leave the comforts of their home because they have more benefits in their home than they do outside their home, and it doesn't cost them as much money or their time to go and go see something. So you have these companies that are putting out variable content, and no one's going to see them because they can do more enjoyable things in their own houses. So they sort of have to, I think, combine to survive. And I just think that that's going to only continue to be an issue, as we go into the future, that there's going to be less and less and less reasons for people to leave their houses. So these other companies have to do something to survive.
Did you see that thing over there regarding Movie Pass?
Yeah.
Aren't they shitting the bed right now?
Yeah. Because first of all, I don't know even $20 a month to see. First of all, they're doing the equivalent of throttling their customers by not allowing new blockbuster movies to be seen for like the first 3 or 4 weeks. This sounds like the 28-day window that Redbox used to have with movies that come out on Blu-ray or DVD. It's like, what the hell is the point of me having a movie pass that I pay $20 a month for if I can't go to see the movies that I most likely want to see by having a movie pass?
Well, here's the problem though. If Disney owns like 60% of the box office, their deals with the movie theaters will be, oh, and by the way, in the first 3 weeks of release, you can't allow movie passes to be used because they know movie pass users are the most obsessive moviegoers. And so Disney's going to squeeze them and say, make those guys, they're the ones who are going to be standing in line to buy a ticket. So we're not going to let them use the movie pass. So I think it goes hand in hand with large amount of power in one company that controls the box office. Now, should different movies, should more independent movies get a larger piece of the box office? I'm obviously going to say yes, because I love those movies and I love sort of the Oscar categories and all of that.
There's a home for those movies. It's called Netflix.
and honestly, that might be enough. Okay, I don't need to see 3 billboards in like.
By the way, I watched the David Spade Netflix movie. It was horrible. Another bad one. Did you see that one, Jay? Is it in your queue?
It's
Father
called
of the
Like
Year?
Father, and there's no way you should even clicked on it.
You watched
the title and the actor. That just should have been enough for you to know to walk away from that. But
they literally gave up on the movie at the end. It made no sense, and they just kind of gave up and ran the credits.
So speaking of Netflix, then that Mowgli movie that we were was on the outline to talk about is that, and I think Melissa, this is going to speak to you as far as like the availability of mid-budget art house Oscar bait kind of movies, is that I think really seriously, all kidding aside, I think Netflix is going to be the outlet that a lot of these companies end up going. Like this Mowgli movie that's supposed to be coming out that we just saw a trailer for this summer at the movie theater, and it's the second of like the Jungle Book movies that just came out. It's not a sequel. It's a totally different. It's like a different universe, but it's a big budget movie. It's like a $150-200 million CG festival, and it was kind of a big studio picture, and Netflix just bought up the rights to it, and they're going to make it a Netflix exclusive. I think that's actually brilliant of them to sell to Netflix, because I don't know how many different takes on Jungle Book the theater industry actually can absorb at this point. Even if it's fantastic, there was just a Jungle Book movie that just came out, and it's like, I don't know. I think they were limiting their box office potential by making a movie after the first one in a separate way. But so yeah, I think these kind of mid-budget movies are going to start going more and more to Netflix, and I think that's going to be a perfect medium for people that want to see smaller budget movies, more variety of topics movies, and it's not going to bankrupt the movie companies. Now, when Netflix runs out of money, you're fucked. But hey.
Yeah, so I think that's a really nice point. Was it last year where they had the Sundance Film Festival, and it was like Netflix and Amazon Prime got like some of the top movies from that festival? Got the production right?
Yeah, I think, but
so I think that's great.
It's somewhere I read that like Netflix was having some trouble or some issues buying them because movie companies did not want to sell their movies to Netflix, because they felt like it's going to take them out of like awards, contingents, because if it only airs on a television, then it doesn't qualify for Oscar release. And therefore, I think what Netflix was considering doing, and I think this is actually a brilliant plan also, opening like Netflix theaters, like one in LA and one in New York, and having screenings in a public forum so that they can qualify their films for Oscars. Perfect.
So if I subscribe to Netflix, I could just go to the theater and get it, or do I have to pay another?
I think
that's an excellent question.
Yeah, that's an actually very good question, but I don't know how that would work. I think the way the Oscar rules work now, though, is that this is why you get movies in December that come out in New York and LA only, and then they release later on in the year in wide release, because in order to qualify for any Oscar category, a film has to be publicly exhibited, at least on both coasts, in order for them to count or to be eligible. So, for something like that, I think that would be a fix for the whole, well, then your movie isn't going to be Oscar eligible issue. But yeah, I think Netflix, I think there should be maybe more Netflixes out there. I mean, Netflix is kind of like the giant right now, but maybe there could be, some kind of like subscription level service for like Sundance Film Festival. You pay $20 a month and you get to see all the Sundance films. That would be, whatever.
Does everybody on this show have Netflix? Does anybody not have Netflix?
No, everyone has Netflix.
Everyone has Netflix.
How about Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Don't you think Netflix should start enforcing the password rule?
Really?
No.
Are you really going there?
Hey, you already outed me. You already outed me for Chris, or at least actually it was. But no, I bring that up, but it's kind of funny because, listen, their strategy wasn't necessarily to get as many subscriptions as possible. It was just to become pervasive,
and they're
spread
there
it
now.
like a virus, and make it so you can't live without it. And that's how we're at.
Of course, and then they're gonna turn up the price per month slowly and watch the frog boil.
Right.
Yes.
I expect, Carlos, to be honest with you, I do expect that that's going to be something that's going to happen in the next few years, is that there's going to be some kind of, just like everyone's going, the $99 Amazon Prime deal is wonderful. Oops, it's $129 now. What are you going to do? I can't live without Amazon Prime. I can't live without it.
I know.
Okay. I can't go back to like 5 to 7 day shipping. What is this? Some kind of jungle?
No. Listen, man.
But isn't it? I mean, that one service has totally changed our mind. Like, if I have to pay for shipping on something that I order online, I am really pissed off.
You're upset.
Wait till they start. Till Neil gets to start just checking off. I want this kind of fillet and a steak, and then they drone that to your house in about 35 minutes.
Oh my God!
That's where we're going.
We're just about there. That's right.
Yeah. We're gonna turn into those Wall-E people that are floating around in the Wall-E chairs. I'm halfway there. So I'm just saying, that's what's going to happen. But I'm, you know, aside from the health issues concerning that, I am here for the fucking drones dropping off the shit at my house. Okay, I'm here for it. I really, you know, Jay and I was joking with Jay about this a while ago. I'm sure everyone here has seen Infinity War now, right?
Yes.
Carlos, have you seen Infinity War? Is he there?
I'm here. I've been muting just
Oh,
so there's
okay.
no feedback. But yeah, no, I have not seen Infinity War yet, but it is on the short list.
I believe it's on, or it's going to be soon on Netflix. So you can
Yes.
probably catch it there.
Well, Last Jedi was on Netflix. That's why
Yeah.
we watched it yesterday, which I was
Right.
very surprised.
Right. Well, they're doing that now because Disney, you know, has a lot of. Doesn't Disney? No, they have a deal with Netflix, is what it is, to put their films on that service. Although they're going to yank that as soon as the app comes out, which is next year. But until then, they do have a deal in place. But anyway, about Infinity War, you know, at the end of Infinity War, when Thanos is sitting on that planet on this porch, and he's just like, peace and quiet. I mean, that's where the world is getting to. It's getting to a place where, like, I can actually understand Thanos just wanting to get the fuck away from people. There's just too many fuckeries going on out there. So, yeah, I'm kind of ready for, like, you know, Amazon to deliver everything to me, so I don't have to
But
leave.
see, this is in Ready Player One, and Bill and I were talking about this a little bit when you guys were off. But in the book, so you know, the world is lived in this virtual reality, right? But in the book, one of the interesting parts of the book, and your reference to Wall-E reminded me of it, Bill, is because the kid realizes like he's become so immersed in this virtual reality and he's not exercising, like his health is horrible, he's gaining weight. So in the book, he buys something that's like, you know, a year package, but it forces him to exercise a certain amount a day before he can go into the Oasis.
Ooh.
And it was genius. And of course he regrets it like the second day after he buys it. But it's like irreversible, and he's got to do some exercise, and it has this healthy food delivery service and stuff like that. So we're probably like a couple steps away from that. Imagine if your Netflix couldn't come on until you bicycled for 30 minutes or something like that.
I don't know. I would
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
probably be beneficial for me.
Yeah, you would talk about a jailbreak. We've articles on how to like make sure that you can disconnect that portion of it. Come on.
No, that's,
Yeah,
you know, that's
Scooties is gonna be on the treadmill. You're gonna figure it out.
Well, that's the thing. People will make their kids do it or something, and they won't do it.
right.
So,
But
you know, speaking of Ready Player One, there, here, Missy, I saw the movie. I saw it actually this weekend. I watched it in a couple parts of my nephew, and you know, I was a big proponent after seeing the trailer. I think I told you ahead of time that I was not a fan because I thought the CGI was kind of wonky, and I just wasn't sure about it because it seemed not that original. Even though I read the book, it just seemed like a standard. What's my phrase with Bill on this? Paint by numbers movie.
A schlop
My question,
or whatever.
You can give
Paint
your
by
review of
numbers.
Ready Player One in a second here, but my question to you is at the end. As we all know, like all the people are jacked in like the Matrix, like they're all into the Oasis, right? And this is designed for them to escape their lives because things are tough out there for them. Am I right so far?
Yes.
Yes.
So now Wade Watts?
Yes.
Wade Watts at the end, he becomes the owner of the Oasis because, you know, he's pure of heart, he's a good guy, and he's not going to be some sort of corporate minor capitalistic pig. He's going to do what's right. And he's going to treat it with respect. But at the end, he's just like, well, I'm changing the Oasis. You know what? Because I think people need to be connected to the real world. And so, like, you know, I don't give them access, you know, for Tuesdays and Thursdays because they need to interact with the people. It seemed kind of weird to me that now all of a sudden that he becomes the owner of $1 trillion company. He decides now that I think the people need to, you know, they need to unplug themselves. It
Sure.
just seemed kind of a weird.
But
I don't know.
I think it's an interesting question. Any inventor of technology, and especially where we are today with artificial intelligence and other things, ethics and morality have to layer onto it. And I'm not talking about should we do virtual reality porn or some Bible Belt stuff, but I'm saying, do we give people something that really will erase all human contact, and is that good for the universe? You know, I don't.
Depends on the humans you have to contact.
What's that?
It depends on the humans you're contacting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think it is good for the universe.
That's right. Yeah. I think it, you know, there's a big debate today in terms of technology and what's the morality of some of the things that are happening. What's the morality of the privacy perspective? We talked about Amazon Echo or Amazon Juanita or whatever her name is.
Alexa.
You know, she's listening all the time. She's pinging Amazon back, you know, what you're talking about. I mean, they say it doesn't happen, but honestly, I can't think about buying my dog a new type of dog food before it popping up in my suggested thing on Amazon. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. So I think that there's privacy concerns, there's ethics and morality concerns with all new technology, and it's just going to become more and more severe because of the pace of it today.
Right.
I remember reading something that, and I never played Farmville, but I don't know if you guys ever played Farmville, but that, you know, social media game.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know, it had like 1 billion users or however many users it had. And someone made the point that if someone just hacked Farmville and like changed the watering cycle for their crops, you could actually redirect people, like 1 billion people, 20 times a day, you know?
Right.
like you can actually change their behavior, their actual physical behavior, because you just put in a little code in the Farmville game that says you can now got to water your crops every 20 minutes. I mean, that's a scary.
Jay and I have this problem still.
Talk about influencer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Obviously, Carlos has got me addicted to a shout out to Clash Royale. And
Is that thing you're constantly in your phone about?
Yes. Yeah. When I sit there and in theater and I'm with my 14-year-old nephew, I go, oops, it's time for me to open up my chest to see what goodies I get. It is like Pavlov's dogs. Every 3 hours, I open up a chest. Every 8 hours, I open up a chest. I collect chests. And it's an addictive quality.
Hey,
and
congratulations on getting the 4,000 trophies, by the way.
Thank you very much.
So, like, if Russian bots want to mess with people on election day, they just have to change the chest opening, whatever it is, to like every 2 minutes. And everyone would be so distracted and blown away by that no one would.
Definitely worth
giving magical cards away.
Yes, you have to be by your phone at all times.
So, Melissa, let me ask you a question while we're on social media and influencing and all of that. You're not on Twitter. Like, do you have a Twitter account and you just don't tweet, or you don't have a Twitter account at all?
I do have a Twitter account, and I'll tell you, I got a Twitter account because I was responsible for drafting a social media policy at my company. And I said, I better figure out what the social media stuff is.
Right.
So I got it so I could just sort of take a look and get the flavor of it. I look on Twitter, like I look on the Popular Cinema Podcast Twitter. I look at other things, but and we have, you know, some famous people in the country that, or infamous people in the country that I can't avoid. But
who could you be talking about?
Yeah, I just am not into using the medium, and I think I don't want to say like I'm a late adapter. I just haven't gotten into it, and I don't know if I'm missing something or if I'm smart by not doing it yet and not getting addicted to it.
Well,
so.
let me go ahead.
I will
I don't
tell
have
you
that
this.
much to say that I want to share with everyone, though, who might follow me.
Twitter is like a virtual dumpster fire. It's like a constant bombardment of dumpster fires.
Yeah.
Now, I use Twitter, but I use Twitter, I think, differently than Twitter's actually intended to be used for. Like, I don't tweet, but I use Twitter as like basically a news ticker. And so basically my timeline is filled with either movie companies or actors in the movies or people who blog or post about movies and television shows and so forth. So I use mine as like a pop culture sieve to sort of get information coming into me. But I never, if there becomes like, because when you join these other companies, people do retweet them, and then you end up getting into their timelines, and then that's how you get to understand like for example the division that's going on right now in the Star Wars fan community after The Last Jedi. But when the smoke starts getting overwhelming and I start choking on it, then I start unfollowing those people who are posting those things that just become divisive and nasty.
Yeah.
So,
is there any platform that you do use? I know Carlos is on Twitter. Are you using some other form of platter like a Reddit, Tumblr?
Reddit. I mean, for me, Reddit is the number one place to go, and I use it the way that Bill uses Twitter. Although I use Twitter the way that Bill uses Twitter, just for news feed. So, you can really customize what you want to see, and you get up to the second.
Right.
If you're into football, for example, that's where you get the latest news. But Reddit, I find not only they give you the news, but they give you the funny stuff, the memes. They give you just a little taste of everything that's going on there. So, and that's obviously really difficult. I don't know. You can filter Reddit, but yeah, Bill, I feel like you'd go right down the rabbit hole and everything would be spoiled, although you're strong.
Right. Well, yeah, I do use Reddit also. I do find that Reddit is, Jay, you're familiar with the Ain't It Cool News Talkback segment from the olden days of pre-Twitter. I think Reddit is maybe a step above, not even maybe a half a step above the Ain't It Cool News Talkback segments, because people will go on and it's like Twitter. They will create dumpster fires of anger and there's a lot of divisiveness, and people will go on and say their opinions, and they're not nice often if they they don't feel nice about something. It is what it is, but I do find it to be a platform that I have to be careful to not go down that rabbit hole, like Carlos said. Like, I use Reddit sparingly, less so than Twitter for sure.
Well,
I find what's good for me.
What do you use it for? Like, what are you looking at it?
So I follow subreddits for Marvel Studios. I follow subreddits for DC movies, Star Wars leaks. So I use it again for mostly what'll happen is people will, before a movie comes out, it's a great resource to get movie posters, and people make posters on their own, sometimes that are better than the actual posters that the movie companies come out with. People will talk about their anticipation for certain movies, and all of that's great. And then the movie comes out, and then it becomes a shitting ground for everything.
Right.
Then it becomes, oh my God, and I can't. And that's when, so usually before a movie, I'm good with Reddit. But once the movie is just about to come out and they started screening it for other people, and then people start spoiling it, or they come out with their opinions about it and they don't moderate their opinions, then I start going, okay, I got to log this off. So it's sort of like a backup for Twitter, or an alternate to Twitter.
It sounds like an on-demand fan club for certain.
It pretty much is. That's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. It is basically an on-demand fan club.
Hey, Missy.
Yeah.
You read Ready Player One. I think you read it twice. You finally saw Steven Spielberg's movie. What did you think of it? Well,
I really liked it. I thought so it's totally different than the book. The book is better. The book is always better, but it's not, it doesn't even follow some of it's not even the same challenges to get the keys as are in the book. But once you let go of that expectation, I thought it was fun. It's a fun Spielberg romp. And Bill and I were talking before, does it follow the Spielberg, does it pull at the heartstrings enough? And does it have those tones? And to me, I felt like it did. I felt like this idea of we all want to escape the world, so we're living in this oasis is very realistic and close to where we are today almost.
Right.
But this idea of the person who invented this thing that's amazing and is providing so much value recognized at the end of his life that he missed, the type of human contact and real friends. So I loved it. In some ways, I think it's, Goonies was a great movie for me growing up. It's like these kids on this adventure and they don't know what they're going to encounter, and it's kind of scary and they got to figure things out. To me, it's sort of a, 2018 Goonies.
Oh, well said.
I will go with you, Melissa, on the themes of it. I really feel like you're right on the nose with the whole ideas the whole idea that's presented in there that, you know, we should really value human interaction above, you know, the artificial creation that the bubble that we put ourselves in. I love the idea of all of that. The execution is what just didn't capture me. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to feel something other than what I felt, and I just didn't. But I like the idea of the movie more than the movie itself, I think.
Yeah, that's good. That's a fair point. What about you, Jay?
Um, there were parts. I think there was something that was missing, and after having a conversation with Bill about it, I would say that there is some heart of it missing. Now, there was certain times throughout that movie that I found myself smiling, like you said, like watching Goonies, like a little kid.
Right.
There was just certain scenes that were just so geektastic. I like the fact where he figured out the first puzzle and was driving his DeLorean backwards.
Right.
The actual speech that they show in the trailer, which I panned and derided and said that's just so stupid. I found myself cheering and was loving that all the other characters were showing up.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun and cute parts, but I feel like certain things were missing, and like when you had his aunt and her abusive boyfriend die in the stacks.
Yeah.
There was things there was death, but it was I didn't feel like there was real stakes for some reason. And
Yeah.
when the aunt and the abusive boyfriend died, we weren't really attached to them. And
It felt hollow, like you're supposed to care because, you know, they're his family, but somehow I just didn't.
and I can't remember from the book. I think I was looking for more. Well, it's not looking. I mean, this is trying to follow the book. Is that I remember, like we talked about it, Missy, about one of the characters dying. Shotu, I think one of those
Right.
characters
Right.
died, and that kind of
They kill him in real life.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that sort of was like, wow, you know, this is a character that we were sort of growing attached to in the book, and then he was killed, and then you're like, okay, this is, you know, the Sixers are serious here. Now, instead of them, you know, they kill off some people in the stacks, but I wasn't attached to those people. There was
Yeah.
nothing that made me attached, and so I felt, I don't want to say like they should have killed somebody else off, but it was one of those things that I needed something more like, you know, when you get unplugged from the Matrix, you die. You know, right now you're just kind of wearing, you know, your virtual headset, and if they kill off your character, you just start back from zero.
I totally, I get that. I agree with it. You know, they didn't have as much development, so that when real people died in the real world because of what they were doing, it wasn't as emotional as the book was. I get that for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's I think you could have done that more, but I mean the book does it. But there was a lot of parts in the movie that surprisingly I was smiling like a child. So I do have to admit that um I don't know.
Now, some of the pop culture references I felt like were not necessarily as widely accessible, perhaps for certain people, than others were. Like, for example, Melissa, did you know or have you seen the Iron Giant before this movie? Did you know what it was?
I knew generally what it was. Yes.
Okay, okay. Because I wonder, like, I don't think that movie when it came out was super popular. I mean, it's a wonderful movie, and I own the movie, and I love the movie, The Iron Giant. But it's kind of one of those like more recent ones, and I don't know that there's a lot. Maybe there's a segment of the audience that maybe doesn't really quite get it as much as maybe they thought they would. I don't know. It just felt like, and I know that Jay and I talked about this, that Steven Spielberg had said, you know, I don't want to put my own movies in the movie because it feels weird to me that I would be referencing my own pop culture characters in my own movie. I get that, but I could have probably lived with a little bit more Spielbergian references in the Spielbergian
Some
movie.
E.T. Give me some E.T. or give me
Yeah,
something like
E.T.
Yeah.
I think they had the DeLorean from Back to the Future in there, right? So,
Right.
Let me ask you a question. And there was that scene. One of the keys was the Shining, the movie The Shining.
yeah.
Why did Steven Spielberg pick The Shining? Is he somehow
Was that not in
related?
the book, Melissa?
That was not in the book at
Oh
all.
no, it's
Okay.
not in the book. So is
Okay.
there a connection with Stanley Kubrick or something else?
Well,
that
there is a
you know?
connection with Stanley Kubrick. Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick were friends, close friends, and in fact, AI which is the last movie that Stanley Kubrick worked on, was specifically granted to Steven Spielberg before Kubrick's death because he wanted Steven to complete the movie, and he did.
Well, check out the big brain on Brad. Thank you.
Wow. But yeah, so there's a connection. I think in the middle of a is it PG-13? I believe it is. I don't know that is the movie that I would have referenced. I don't think I loved that part of the movie as much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think I didn't like the part, but I thought it was a very curious choice. And now knowing that background, it makes sense now, you
Right.
know, why that movie. Because, The Shining is not for everyone.
Right. And it's a rated R film, and they're referencing a rated R film within a PG-13 film. That seems a little incongruous to me a little bit.
I liked it. I thought it was a fun surprise, and I love the vision with H going into the room and seeing the woman in the bathtub and stuff. That was hilarious.
Right.
And
Which
then,
it is cool because it's one of those sort of like those video game things where like it's part of the world that was never explored in the film, but
Right.
you could see that it was, certainly fit within the film. If you would have went in a door versus the door that they followed in the film, then this is what you would have seen.
I'm thinking that they're going to probably end up making some sort of like Harry Potter world. I'm seeing a Shining world, a haunted house based on The Shining, a ride or something like that. Too much?
I don't know. I don't know that they're going to make a ride based on a rated R film. I kind of think that's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
Because little Susie's going to have nightmares for 3 weeks, and the parents are going to call up and demand for refunds. No one wants to go there.
But you could totally see it as a virtual reality game. Like, imagine
yeah.
if you could be inserted into horror movies as a character in a horror movie. That would be horrifying.
Oh, that would be cool. But they're never going to do Star Wars Land and the Shining Land next to each other in the Disney theme park. That's not going to happen.
So I was combing through the interwebs. Do we all remember, Carlos, you should remember this. Do we all remember Fantasy Island?
Of course.
Of course.
The plane.
Everybody's dead. I hate to
Are
say
they?
that. But I believe so.
What is it?
No, you're
Tattoo. What was his name?
Tattoo.
He died.
Mr. Rourke. He's dead.
Mr. Rourke.
Fernando Montalban.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be doing a reboot of Fantasy Island.
Well, why not? They've rebooted everything else. Why not?
I recall. I mean, this was the time you had Fantasy Island. I think Love Boat was out there at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were.
My
They were.
cousin was on
That
Love
was
Boat. Remember that?
That's what we
story,
did on
Melissa?
Saturday nights in the '70s. Was the Love Boat and Fantasy Island? Yeah.
I had my cousin Lauren is Lauren Tweeds, I think is her name, from my father's cousin, who's Julie from the Love Boat.
Really? That's
Really?
awesome.
She used to come to family reunions. She was like a big star.
Yeah.
The cruise director?
Yeah,
Wait,
Julie.
Julie.
the cruise director.
She married and then divorced my father's first cousin.
Wow, that's awesome.
Brush with greatness.
Or at least fameness.
Well, I mean, I didn't. Is that why that's ingrained in my memory? Because they were close to like 9:00 was Love Boat and 10:00 was Fantasy Island. Is that?
Yeah, Jay. It was like the Saturday night thing to do if you weren't going out. It was like Love Boat and Fantasy Island. That's the shit.
I
That was
remember
good.
having a good time with Love Boat, and I believe I watched a lot of the Fantasy Island, and I have a fond memory. So I'm kind of like excited when I saw the article that they would be doing a reboot of it.
The thing about it is, this is the second time they would have rebooted this show. They rebooted it in the early or the late '90s or the early 2000s.
Did
with-
anybody watch it? Anybody?
No, but it starred that guy from Clockwork Orange.
I remember. What's his name? Oh,
I can't remember his name, but it didn't. I mean, it didn't last very long. But if they rebooted, I mean, imagine a Fantasy Island. It would certainly have to be updated because that was some cliche shit. But I mean, what would Fantasy Island be like today? It's like for today's audiences, would it have to be something like Nip Tuck on steroids? Like the fantasy would be the guy having like an orgy or a harem or something on the island. I mean, it wouldn't be as lovely, oh, I just want to fall in love, and I don't know. I think they'd have to amp it up.
Yeah, you're talking now that it was. Well, I don't know if it was wholesome back then.
It would be wholesome compared to what we would see on television now.
Yeah.
Well, now that they have those, I don't even know what the name of the show is, but isn't there like an island show, reality show where people are
Love Island? I think
other
it's called.
spouses and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
talking
you're right.
Bachelor in Paradise? Is that Bachelor in
Yeah,
Paradise?
Bachelor in Paradise, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it, it would certainly fit in with that kind of stuff, I guess. Bachelorette, The Bachelor, I don't know. I don't watch any of it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm in for the reboot of Fantasy Island. Well, I'll give it a try, but I was a fan of the original.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I don't, unless it's something really different and really unique. Although, I just don't think it really interests me.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we're here. We're winding down here, and I'm thinking. I know this is going to put people on the spot here, but we're entering fall TV season, and I see that there's certain shows making their way back, and I'm getting kind of excited. I know at the end of August, Ozark, the second season is coming out, August 31st. I know they're going to be doing another Fargo here, but I don't know when it's dropping. You've got Jack Ryan on Amazon for the people for the Amazon Prime. There seems to be a lot of shows that are coming up here. Orange is the New Black season is out. What are you looking forward to watching? Do you have something that's dropping? I mean, Man in the High Castle, I think that's scheduled for next year. Is there something in the fall season you're excited about watching?
Well, I'm going to go slightly less than mainstream, which is typically my usual route. But I'm looking forward to the new Star Wars animated show called Star Wars Resistance, because the Rebels show, which was never my cup of tea, finally ended this year, and I couldn't have gone out faster. And Don't Let the Door Hit You for me, because I wasn't a fan of it. But Resistance is done in like the anime style, so it's going to look like G-Force, which is the only thing I can compare it to because it's the only anime I've ever seen. And it's going to be set in the era during The Force Awakens, so there are going to be characters in it that are in the movies, thank God, so that I can have some kind of connection to them outside of the animated show. So Poe is going to be in it, and Phasma is going to be in it, and BB-8 is going to be in it, and so I am hoping that it is better than Rebels. It'll never be the Clone Wars level, I know that, but I hope it'll be better than Rebels, and I'm looking forward to it. That's my most anticipated show this fall.
Missy, where are you at? I know it's putting you on a little bit on the hook. Is there a certain show, TV series that's coming up? Better Call Saul? I don't know.
Yeah,
Fargo?
and I'm not sure what the launch dates are, so I don't have the launch dates ahead of me. I don't think Game of Thrones is back on until 2019, so
Yeah.
obviously
Maybe
everyone's
a while.
excited to see that one. I'm a big fan of Billions on Showtime. I think that's a great show. But I don't know that that's going to come out in the fall. But yeah, Better Call Saul and the Ozarks out of the one that you mentioned just now. I kind of lost Orange is the New Black at some point in season maybe 3. I was just not getting it as much.
Interesting with shows like that where I don't know if it's a problem that I have such easy access to it, but the fact that it's so available to me doesn't make it, I don't know, it's like almost like courting. Just because it's so easy, it's not like I really want to try as hard now. I have it in my queue, but I'm just not watching.
Yeah.
Well, what does that say, though? That says that you obviously don't enjoy it that much, or you would have watched it by now, right?
Yeah, I'm winding down on the season. It's not, it's not there. I am watching Castle Rock on Hulu though.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that. I forgot to ask you that. How is that?
I'm giving it another shot. I'm starting to watch it from the beginning. There's a lot of obscure Stephen King references. Like I've only read one book or listened to one Stephen King book. So a lot of these things are based on all his books. Some of these characters and obscure references.
Which one is this, Jay?
This is Castle. What is it?
Castle Rock.
Castle Rock.
This
Hulu.
isn't the one where they own the women, is it? What's that?
No, that's
That's
Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, Handmaid's.
Handmaid's
Which,
Tale.
which, by the way,
Uh-huh.
I will not watch because I feel like it's too much. The subject materials just seems a little bit unsavory for me.
What is it, like a Sister Wives thing, only to the extreme?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
you know, I can watch a lot of things. I can watch a lot of horror. I can watch a lot of violence. I put this on here, and it's just not appealing to me. I feel like I would need a bath. I watched a few minutes of it, and I go, it's just not for me. Seems popular for some, not for me.
So Castle Rock, are all the episodes available on Hulu right now, and you've watched them all already?
They made the first 3 available, and then they release an episode every Wednesday.
Okay, so you've seen all the episodes already? Once?
I've seen all 3. Well, there's 4 out now. I watched all 3, but I'm rewatching it and trying to pay attention, and I haven't made a conclusion on it. I don't think it's anything like really forward, like blow you out of water television, but it's sort of the genre material that I'm interested in.
Right.
Oh, Melissa, as a side note here, before I get to Carlos for his upcoming show, is I'm listening to the audiobook Mindhunter, based on the obviously
yeah.
the Netflix show Mindhunters. I'm now listening to the audiobook. I think you had told me you were listening to it or reading it at one point.
Yeah, I read it back in like the 90s when it was first out, and it was awesome and super terrifying. I loved it. But is that miniseries coming out this fall? Is that dropping?
No, I don't believe so, but
Yeah.
I'll be there when it does.
Yeah,
Carlos, where are you at on this?
On Mindhunters?
No, just on anything upcoming that he's looking forward to watching.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I think we're in a lull, aren't we? I mean, probably Better Call Saul, although I didn't finish the last season. Definitely Man in the High Castle, although I'm frightened about it. Really, the Westworld experience, which we don't have to get into, was a real downer. In hindsight,
yeah.
I mean, it was not a payoff. It felt like a wasted year. And
Yeah.
we're having to wait a whole year for Game of Thrones. I don't know. I felt like, to be honest, this was, and I get HBO like 6 different ways a Sunday, but I felt like this was the time to cut the cord, to be honest, because I'm really not looking forward to a lot. The one show that I recommend, but it's too hard because it's too close to what I do for work, is The Looming Tower on Hulu. If you haven't watched that one yet, that's really
The Looming Tower.
Oh, yeah, I saw the previews for that.
Yeah,
It's
Jeff
about
Daniels.
the
is in
9/11
it.
or terrorist thing.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what that is?
It's literally the build up to what happened with 9/11 and how, if anybody ever wants to ask me what's the history of Al Qaeda, hey Bill, this is what it feels like when you're talking about underwear. If anyone ever asked me like what's the history of Al Qaeda, where they came from, what to be scared of, what not to, then I used to refer them to the book, The Looming Tower, it's by Stephen Wright, who he also did the Scientology book in Seeing Clear. But anyways, if you're into figuring that out and into that history, it's something to see. But for me,
but it hits too close to home because of
well, we have we were like our office was involved in some of that stuff, and it's just weird to watch. It's like going to work and watching,
Right.
watching what you do at work, like you're just not going to do that. But I did watch a couple episodes. The other thing is they twist some of the characters in ways that if you knew them, you'd be like, this is ridiculous. But that wouldn't ruin your watching experience. I think that it's like a thriller, and it's like if you like 24 or any of those action thrillers, you're going to like this. And I got through like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I thought it was really good. But
you know what, Carlos? I'm adding it to the queue. I may try to sell this to my woman. I may have to watch a trailer though first to confirm.
There you go. You're gonna like
I thought
it.
she was only into Dr. Pimple Popper.
Ooh.
Is that a real show? You guys say
Yes.
that, but is that
It's a real show. Yes.
Real show.
Oh my god!
It's a
They
show
say
on
the
TLC.
worst
It actually is-
voyeurs.
It's actually on tonight, I believe.
Oh, well, get your popcorn.
all it is people that walk in and they have some sort of giant cyst or some sort of other bump, and she looks at it, she presses on it, and then she gets a scalpel and she cuts it open, and all this stuff
God.
comes out.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I cannot. Look, I have to draw the line at my 600-pound life. I can't do it. I can't. Like when that lady, the 600-pound life lady, was stuck to the toilet, I said, that's it for me. I can't do it. I can't. I just can't. So those TLC shows, you guys can have them. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's like I went to the ER going to the bathroom or having sex. They build a whole hour around that.
Yes, but at least that was reenactments.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least that was like not the actual event. But on like 600-pound life, when the lady goes to scrub like in her knee, and the scrub handle goes like all the way into her leg because she's got so much fat around her leg, and it like she loses it in there. I can't.
Yeah, I wonder, are they really doing it to support those people and shine a light on the challenges and the accompanying depression or whatever it is?
No, they're exploiting the fuck out of them.
TLC is all about the learning channel.
And that's the ironic part about it, is that it's called TLC and it's really got nothing to do with learning anything except like human misery. But what I don't understand is, I mean, it's exploitive, yes, but are the people being exploited? I don't know. I kind of think, this is going to be on television. They're not like coming in there secretly filming you and you have no idea what's going on. So if you sign the waiver that says, yeah, you're going to be on the show, then you deserve whatever you get. When you know that, but by this time they're in what, season like 27 of My 600-Pound Life, they're not going to make you look like sympathetic. They're going to make you look like some kind of circus freak. So that's what you get.
This brings me to one of my favorite TLC shows of all time, Trading Spaces, and I don't think we ever got Bill's retake on what the new season is like. Does he like the new season?
Well, I enjoy it. My husband does not, and I don't know quite why. I kind of feel like it's fun and it's retro and it brings back nostalgia for me to sit and watch it again. I do like it. I like some of the new Carpenters too. Hubba hubba, but oh, shut up. But I do like it. I think I don't know if they've toned it down from like I've noticed I don't think they've used Hildy quite as much as they used to, because people got sick of her sticking shit on the wall with crazy glue. So I do kind of feel like they're actually in the game instead of just trying to make it a television show now. I think they're doing it to like really, give some decorating ideas. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Did you?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I do think, because I was listening to that episode when you guys were talking, and laughing a lot, and the idea of you and Payne trading spaces with your significant others would be must-see TV for me.
Yeah, that would be an interesting experiment, I would have to say.
There'd be some hell no's and some protests. I would think.
Yes, that would be interesting.
And the new Queer Eye is a big hit. I'm liking the new.
Yeah, we tried that, and I don't know how this is going to sound because what the hell, I'm just going to be me. It's just a little too gay for me. I'm sorry. It's just a little too gay. It's just like a giant explosion of gay. I can take gay. I like gay. Everybody knows I am gay. It's just that if I had to be exposed to like 5 of me on a weekly basis, I don't think I could do it. So.
Yeah,
I think it's fabulous. And I like that they're doing people that are not straight, it's not Queer Eye for the straight guy now, it's just Queer Eye. So they help women, they help. Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'm in on Queer Eye.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that on Logo? Where is that?
No, really. It's on Hulu, I think, or Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah. Oh, it's good, Jay. You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Yeah. Chris would like that.
There's
Carlos, have you watched it?
No, I cannot bring myself to watch that ever. I pass over it and like I think about it and like no, it's just not even.
No.
Who doesn't love a makeover show? It's like the best.
I love makeover shows, but I don't know. Do they have to be so damn gay about it? They're so damn gay.
Well,
It's like every gay stereotype ever on that show.
What about that Netflix show that was giving you the 15-minute lessons? Like, did you see that one? That was a good show. I was watching, like, it explained Bitcoin. It explained K-pop.
No, I have never
Nobody
seen that.
saw
I
that.
haven't
It's
seen
called
that.
Netflix Explained, I think.
All right,
I've
I'll look for it.
Oh,
I've
that was
never heard of that.
I actually
They're
I
only
think
like
that sounds
15
really cool.
minutes. Like,
Yeah.
so like you can watch a quick episode.
I will look for it. That
That
sounds cool.
sounds like a lot of thinking. I really go with more disposable entertainment nowadays, like
Really?
Squidbillies, Family Guy, stuff like that.
So if they're not
So-
squeezing cottage cheese out of their skin, you can't be bothered. That's what you're saying.
Oh my god. Oh,
Could you actually sit and I don't understand. I will say one show on TLC that I really do miss that I actually fell in love with, and it's actually available. I think it's on Hulu or Netflix, but the whole series, My Strange Addiction. Now that's horrible too. It's terrible. But that was some entertaining shit. When the woman was addicted to sniffing dirty diapers, and she
Oh.
would steal dirty diapers from her friends' babies when they would come over and like hide them in places in her house. And when they would leave, she would go sniff them.
oh, that
Now,
is.
that was some good shit.
No,
Well, see,
I-
this is what happened. So now these shows, now I'm thinking these shows are out there just so that watchers can say, "I'm not that screwed up." Like
That's exactly why they watch it.
I
That's
might
exactly
not exercise as much as I should. Maybe I eat a little bit too much pizza now and then, but I'm not doing that.
right. I am not sniffing diapers, so
Oh.
I am better.
Oh,
No,
that's so
some
horrible.
of these shows, like whatever 600-Pound Life, which I don't watch. Yeah, I think there's a time for it. At least for me, like I think we watched it, and then at a certain point, you just reach like saturation that you can't. The stories are the same, the struggles are the same, and it's like the hoarding show.
Oh
You're
God, I
watching-
can't watch that either. I cannot watch
It-
hoarding.
it- it's very difficult, and it's clear that the person has a problem. And you're kind of like, I'm watching it because you're hoping that somehow they get a help or somehow they break out of the cycle, at least for the hour that you're watching the show.
But do you think that these people are being exploited, or are they allowing? Is it still exploitation if they're allowing it, fully conscious of what's going
well,
on?
the positive side, I guess, the optimistic side of it would like to think that somehow maybe that they're getting, like free counseling. If we put you on the show, we'll pay for your counseling or we'll do something to move you forward. I like to think that's, one of the returns for doing it.
But by the
Yeah.
fact that the very fact that they're showing these people living in this kind of squalor, is that not taking advantage of like somebody's mental illness?
Well, in a way, yes, but I'm hoping at some point that maybe by putting their stuff out there, you might get more people to help them out or more family members that might see it.
Or you'll get people that go, "Oh, thank God. I mean, I'm fucked up, but at least I'm not that fucked up." the other one I used to love that they don't have on TLC anymore is, I used to think you'd love this show, Jay. Did you ever watch Extreme Cheapskates?
Wow.
Is that- it's close.
No, that was some entertaining shit too. Like they were. Now I believe this show was real. They used to have people like go dumpster diving and like pull out stuff from like the grocery stores would like throw out, and then invite friends over and make it like dinner for them using the dumpster food. And they wouldn't tell them until after they started eating the food because they dive in the dumpster for it. I would kill somebody's ass. I would be like, "Motherfucker, you did what?" But that was entertaining. I used to think that show was a hoot and a half. Somebody made
well-
salads using like dandelions.
Okay.
So my husband Neil has an idea for a documentary, and it's kind of like the opposite of Super Size Me, I guess, but it's could you just eat for free for like a month, or how long could you do that? And his whole point is not dumpster diving, but just off of samples. Like if you just hit Costco's on different days of the week, you
Right.
could pretty much feed yourself for free with your
Right.
Costco membership, I guess, or your Sam's Club membership, or
That would be an interesting experiment because like Kroger has like that daily or weekly download where you can download a coupon to get one free item in the store. Like, I mean, there's probably ways that if you really had to, you probably could end up surviving on free food.
free giveaways.
Right.
Yeah.
The casino. Just keep gambling. They'll keep giving you the buffet.
I
Really?
don't think it's a good return on investment, though.
Come on.
Well, do you have to spend? I mean, can't you do like penny slots and still get the free food, or
No.
nickel slots or whatever?
No, they figured that trick out, Bill.
Really?
Well,
Damn.
I was just in Costco and one of the samples was beets. I mean, I don't. Sometimes the choices aren't very.
If you're hungry enough, you don't give a shit. It's food.
Beets.
I love the beets at Costco. I'm just gonna say that.
I bought a whole snapper at Costco the other day. That snapper was so fresh. My
See?
Lord.
It's got it. Costco has it going on.
Yeah.
Costco is not centrally located for us. So we go to Costco. We have a Costco membership, but I've only been there like once or twice because it's like kind of removed. I wish they'd build one over closer to my area because I'm just used to like going down the street.
I've almost run out of gas multiple times trying to get to the gas station so I can save like 8 cents a gallon, which is ridiculous. Really ridiculous when you think that I drive a Prius. So it's
Right.
literally to save 80 cents, because my tank's maybe 10 gallons.
Right.
So it makes no sense at all, but they have me hooked. Because not only that, it's the 8 cents a gallon plus whatever you get on the credit card. 4%
Right.
or something.
I
Right.
understand that because I'm now a part of that tribe. I'm part of that
Yes.
Costco gas tribe. I'm like, I'm on fumes trying to get to Costco.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So what upsets me is sometimes their hours are not always, expansive enough for me when I'm driving, but that's okay.
They're not open long enough for you to save your 8 cents by driving
I
4
find
miles
that
out of your way.
anymore in this whole world of 2-day shipping, I require things to be open 24 hours a day. I do not like holidays anymore because I feel like restaurants or other stores shorten their hours.
I have
just
news
want
for
it.
you. You're living in the wrong state. Okay, for the 24-hour convenience, no. This is still Ohio, and you live in Cleveland. It's, you're talking about grocery stores that roll up at like 9 o'clock on a Saturday. Okay,
Oh,
I mean, what kind of shit is that?
I hear you. All
Hey
right,
guys,
listen,
are you wrapping it up?
we
Yeah.
are wrapping
Yeah.
it up here.
Oh,
I like
good, because I have to go to dinner.
Yeah. Really, Carlos? It's 4:30.
Yeah. It's
Are you going to the MCL? What are you doing?
old people dinner?
I mean, we're old too, and we eat dinner early, but 4:30, shit.
Yeah, no. This way I can get to sleep by 8.
Do you really go to sleep by 8?
No.
Okay.
All right. No, thank you guys for having me on. This was awesome.
Well,
Great
thanks for
fun
coming.
time. And it's going to be another 3 years at least.
I hope so.
I'll leave a voicemail at show 100.
Oh,
I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they are at 900 episodes. Jay, you think we'll make 900 episodes?
900 episodes.
Uh-huh. They've been doing it for like 15 years.
Oh yeah, you guys make it.
I mean, if we had an episode every 2 weeks ever since we've known each other, we would probably get.
Well, this
Yeah.
episode could be 3 episodes.
Well, this is true. If we broke it down,
Yeah.
if we broke it down to like what it should be,
Sure.
like an hour an
Sure.
episode, then yeah, we
Sure.
probably would get to 900.
Sure.
I'm trying to imagine what the technical problems are going to be on your 900th episode. It's going to be the same stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jay, you're breaking up. Bill, get closer to your mic for me. Okay.
No.
Before we sign off, I want to give a shout out to Nadia, who
Oh, absolutely.
is also a super fan, and I love hearing about her on the podcast, and she's a listener. And
Well, I hope she's still.
Woman
listening. We haven't heard from Nadia in a while, so I kind of wonder if she's maybe got tired of our shit.
it's summer. She's probably busy with her kids, but once the school year picks up, she'll be back, I'm sure.
I hope so. I
would like to point out as Carlos is wrapping up and Superfan Melissa is about to jet off, we have been getting a ton of downloads. So thanks to all the listeners out there. It was a banner month last month in July.
All right.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Triple
you.
digits. Triple digits.
A purely septuagenarians are us was like on an A.
That's how we
Oh,
roll.
that reminds me. As you sign off, if you can send me a text as to what you think I should call the episode, I'm always open to ideas. I mean, obviously, I could call it the anniversary episode. Anyway, if you have some ideas, feel free to send those over because I'll be uploading it probably within the next couple hours.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us
Absolutely.
on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I know you guys have better things to do, but I really enjoyed your time on the show with us. It was a laugh and a riot. So,
It was very fun. Keep going, you guys. Keep going. And for Box Office Mojo, all we could say is, and you might have missed it, maybe you guys were off, but Black Panther's still beating Infinity War. So there you go.
$700 million.
700 million. Third
Domestic.
highest in domestic history in the U.S.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wakanda forever!
I'm completely baffled, but that's another topic.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. See you guys later. Bill, we're going to continue on with Box Office Mojo.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
And then there were two.
That's how it started.
Bill, at least I don't have any more microphone problems.
Well, yeah. I don't know what's going on over there, but you people are in a new area. Perhaps you should call up somebody and say, listen, can we get an antenna over here?
I know. I was scared to touch any more buttons.
Oh.
So here we go. For the weekend of August 3rd to the 5th of 2018 on our anniversary episode, yep, the #1 movie, Mission Impossible Fallout. Another $35 million. This is in the second week of release, Bill, and it's already pulled in worldwide $329 million.
I'm surprised you didn't rope Nate into going to see that with you. I kind of thought that you were going to do that.
I
Not
was,
for him, but because you wanted to see the movie anyway.
you know what? I wanted to see the movie, and I was hoping that he would have some sort of desire. But as every 14-year-old computer geek nerd, he was just like,
This is
okay.
how children are, Jay. You sometimes you have to lead them to the water and make them drink. You just
Yes.
put them in the car, say we're going, and call it a day.
You're right, but sometimes they just suck the life out of you and the energy, and so you're just like, oh, forget. I guess let's just eat this burger here and let's just go on. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. You're just sitting there going, do you really
In a good
want
way,
to-
though, Nate, because I know Nate and your sister are listening, and they're going to be like, "Really, suck the life out of you?" Yes, he meant in a good way.
You know, we went to this place called One Life to Play. Shout out to them. It's what did you call it? Like a computer
Video game cafe.
video game cafe. Thank you. And part of it is there was a Groupon out there that got me the idea for this place. It just opened up in April, and I asked him his opinion about going because he does a lot with computers, programming, robotics. Be up his alley. And he kind of looks at it. He goes, I don't know, maybe. And I'm sitting there going, well, I'm going to go outside, take the dogs for a walk. When I come back, maybe you have a better idea on it after
Yeah.
you research it. So I come back. I ask him, I go, what do you think? He looks at me and goes, about what? And I go, about the video game arcade place. And he goes, sure. That's what you get. That's the maximum excitement that you get.
I don't know. It's a teenage thing, Jay. Don't you remember going through that phase where, like, you didn't necessarily want to be involved with adults at all? Like, like your mom would be like, "Would you like steak and lobster for dinner?" And you're like, "I don't know."
I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of what it's like to be a teenager. You're just like all hormonal. Your shit's going all haywire.
No
Every
wonder
time
my
a girl
mom-
walks by you.
That's exactly what I want to do. I just want to whoop ass. Every time he says something, I just want to smack him, but I can't because he's funny.
No, but you got to channel your inner teenager and remember how you were at that age, and remember that it's just a phase, and he'll get through it, and he'll come out the other side and own you, me, and everything else before it's over with. So
Okay. The #2 movie in its opening weekend was able to pull in $25 million. Disney's Christopher Robin.
well, I'm glad it was somewhat successful because I've heard that it's not the greatest. Of course, I don't.
Greatest
No.
what?
I heard it's just not the best. I heard it's kind of a double dose of downer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's made for much money. I could be wrong, obviously.
Well, it's Disney. Jay. It's got all the freaking Pooh characters are CG. That's got to cost something.
Okay. It does. I watched the trailer. Obviously, my woman wants to go see this movie.
Is she a Winnie the Pooh fan, or she just like
yeah,
the trailer?
yeah. She's a Pooh fan. She's a Pooh
Okay.
fan. And I have to admit, the trailer, there's one line in the whole trailer that would get me to go see this movie happily, which I'm on board with, is when Pooh is sitting next to, is it Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
And he goes like this, "Don't forget the honey." It's the cutest line. It's the cutest freaking line, Bill. Don't forget the
I
honey.
say giving your girlfriend's propensity for not being so much of a cinemaphile, that anytime that she wants to go see something, you need to jump on that shit, put her ass in the car, and go over there and watch it so that you can get her accustomed to being a moviegoer.
Oh, I got you. It's a training ground, huh?
Yeah, because she's anytime she's going to volunteer to say I'd like to maybe see that, I'd be like, get the keys, let's roll. Hell yeah.
I can't because there's going to be a lot of turds in there. There's going to be some sort of Mamma Mia's. There's going to be some other stuff in there that I'm going to be like, I don't want to see this. There's going to be, I'm not.
Does she want to see Mamma Mia?
No.
Okay.
Um,
It's a great movie, especially for a parent of children. I think she would really dig it.
okay. Well, the number 3 movie is a movie that I've never heard of, which is sad. The Spy Who Dumped Me.
I've heard of it. It's a Isn't it one of those Amy
Action
Schumer
comedy
things?
starring Mila Kunis, Kate McKinnon, Justin Theroux, and Gillian Anderson.
I've heard of it, but it's been a while. So
It pulled in $12 million. Its production budget is 40. It's going to be a struggle for them.
okay.
The number 4 movie in its 3rd week of release, Mamma Mia, here we go again, pulling it in another $9 million, bringing its grand total to $230 million.
Well, looks like Mamma Mia 3 might not be such a far stretch after all. So
That is
I thought it was better than the first one myself.
okay. Well, it's a fun romp, apparently. I mean, if the production budget is $75 million, domestically it's pulling in about $100 million, and overseas it's pulling in double. Do you think that's worthy entry for, keeping it going?
I do. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's probably the most successful musical film in some time,
Okay.
if ever. So
All right. The last movie for the August weekend of August 3rd through the 5th, 2018, Equalizer 2 by boy
Oh.
Denzel. It's only brought in, I'm not even really doing it foreign because it only brought in $8 million foreign. It's brought in $80 million. Now, that's in its 3rd week, but it costs $62 million. It's not, I don't know.
wah, wah.
I like Denzel and I like him in the role as the Equalizer too, but those numbers, I mean, you'd have to lower the production budget to make
Well,
this
Jay,
one
if you're not
viable.
part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. If you're not going to support these movies, then why are you going to be upset when they become financial failures?
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait till, like we talked about earlier, I'm just gonna wait for the Netflix studio. Maybe if I'm a Netflix subscriber, I can just walk into the theater and see some of these movies then for free.
Well,
don't know
if
what
you live
you're
in
gonna be
if you live in
doing.
LA and New York, which you don't, so no,
They're not gonna open one up in the Hellmouth.
no, they're not, because it's a flyover state. They call that for a reason. No one cares what anyone in Ohio is doing. No one.
Oh. All right. So we've reached the end here. It's only had one difficulty. One
Two,
audio
actually, we had
hiccup.
to log off twice, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's wonderful.
So are you gonna have to splice the show from two
Yeah,
different?
that'll be no problem. I've gotten very good at splicing. I'm very confident I can do it.
Oh, good.
And yeah, I'm just glad there was no more issues. So what's on the evening plate for you?
This is kind of sad to say, but I never finished watching The Office, the U.S. version.
Okay.
So, like, there was like 2 or 3 seasons that I never saw. So I started down a rabbit hole of catching up on that, and now I'm just watching episodes back to back. I'm binging a show that hasn't been on the air for 5 years. That's my big
Wow.
excitement for the night. So,
Are the episodes good?
um, they're not great, but I knew that going in. I just want to see the end of the characters and what happens
Wait,
at the end of
when
their.
you say not, was it? Are you saying that the writing is
I'm
not
saying
up to
the
par?
concept kind of got played out when I stopped watching it, and I knew that, but I do want to see where the characters end up. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, and I find that binging it allows you to sort of like get more invested in the characters because you remember what happens week to week versus waiting a week between the episodes so you see them. So it's a smooth watch for me. Would I watch them again? Do I need to own them? No. Is it the highest quality? No. But it's entertaining enough where I can sit there and be like, yeah, this is a cool show.
Okay.
To see the characters. The writing's been better, but it's not horrible. That's my big excitement because my husband's been working all weekend, so I have had no husband time to watch anything with Luke Cage or
Oh yeah, your
our
shows.
normal shows.
So for me, I think my woman went out to dinner with her sister. So I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna see if I can splice this show and upload it. Take the dogs for a walk. Come back, try to fix something for dinner, fix my lunch for the next week, and then I probably have to spend some time with my woman, maybe watch a show, maybe we'll do Dr. Pimple Popper, maybe we'll go Snapped. We'll go Snapped. That's always good. Maybe a little bit of Dateline, something to ease us into the Monday morning work week.
Yeah, because it's a full week, even though last week I started on a Wednesday. It was our first day back, August 1st. And it was a rough transition from coming from my summer of like leisurely fun to like remembering like what life is like in the real world. But next week's gonna be super rough because it's 5 days. 5 days.
Oh, 5
God.
days.
5 freaking straight days. But at least I'm not in the unemployment line. That's what you got to keep saying.
I will point out that intern Scooties, his eye is better.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
His ulcer is gone. He looks like he's back to tip top.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately, it looks like Ferg now has dementia or some sort of senility, and now I have to take him to the vet to find out what we can do for him now.
And what convinces you of this? Because he's just urinating willy-nilly now, like everywhere?
Urination we can handle. Now he's just yipping all the time.
Really? I wonder if he's in some kind of pain, Jay. You might want to, check that out.
We're checking that out. That would be great because then maybe you could put him on a pill, which is hopefully because, I honestly think he's starting to lose his senses, his hearing, his vision. I think those are starting to go a little bit, but I'm no doctor.
So when you say he's yipping, he's just, you're in the room with him and he's just yipping for no reason?
Yeah, it's like a nervous yip. Like you could be in the kitchen and he could be on the couch. And if you're sitting next to him, it's not a problem. But if you're away from him, then, he's...
Because he probably can't see your ass.
Probably anxious, yeah. So...
you need to get him on some doggy tranquilizers.
Yeah. Now, he's been in studio since we started today.
Okay.
An hour earlier.
How did he get down there?
Well, you have to bring him down.
Okay.
But he's been sitting at a dog bed right next to me the whole time, quiet as a lamb. So as long as you're in his area, almost like within the foot, he's fine. But
maybe you should get one of those baby carriers. You know what I mean? Like they have for like, the strap kind, like a backpack only for the front.
For the front, carrying around like a papoose? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like a kangaroo pouch.
Yeah. Chris said that.
Seriously. Maybe this is just going to be your life until, Ferg's no longer with us. You're just going to have to carry him around.
Okay. Well, let's fire up the music here. Let's see if we can get this part here real. So it's been 3 years. Can you believe it?
3 years. I wonder what the next 3 years hold for us. Be interesting to look back in 3 more years and see where we are today.
You know what? I can't lie. I'm sitting here going, maybe I should just get another computer. Maybe I'll just get a computer just dedicated just for the...
I don't know if you need a computer just dedicated for the show. You could just get a new computer and it can do both. But the question of whether you need a new computer or not, I think we've answered that for sure today.
I don't know. If anybody can see me right now in studio, I've got like 4 speakers around me, an amplifier, cords, and who knows?
It probably looks like a homeless man's basement. Yeah. But you should probably look into maybe a laptop. Maybe you can take it with you from home to work, get all your money's worth out of it. You could watch videos on it, Netflix it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Ooh, maybe I can. Anyway, I just came up with an idea. But all right. Bill, it's been 3 years.
Here's to 3.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Shout out to all our fans.
Nadia, if you're still out there, let us know. We miss you.
All right. Bill.
Hey.
Thanks for listening. It's been episode 71, our 3rd anniversary.
We'll see you
I'm your co-host, Payne.
2 more weeks. I'm your co-host, Bill.
Okay. We'll see you.
Bye.
Thank you.